solutions. I have no problem thinking and sitting down with creative people, and we build solutions that can help us fight this. I think I would love to say that. Thank you.
Thank you. Senor Mitch. Senor Mitch.
Yeah. Good afternoon.
How are you?
Can you hear me?
Very loud and clear.
Yeah. Thank you. For starters, I would first like to reply to Paul. It's important that we realize that we can't gatekeep the struggle until there are people who are coming to join the struggle without actually being held accountable for the things they did to help the current government and the current institutions that we have go into place. We have I remember in 2016 when I was voting for my first time, I asked people, where are we voting for Amama Mbabazi? He just came and suddenly he's saying government is bad. Didn't apologize. He was not held accountable for things that he did. And then suddenly we want to welcome people back. There are people who in the last election were influencing for the government on Twitter, influencing for the president, influencing for NRM. And we should keep them out of the struggle until they apologize for the things that they are doing. Secondly, I want to talk about holding people accountable, people that have platforms like musicians, influencers, people that say they are private citizens. We should not ask them to speak up. You cannot be a private citizen when we are calling out human rights abuse. That's not a time for you to say, you wait for me to speak up. When you're coming to us to buy your music, to listen to you on Spotify, when you're telling us to come to your shows, your concerts, when you're telling us to watch your content, you do not remember that you're a private citizen. Why are you being a private citizen when other people are being arrested and being called out? Also, I want people to remember that when people are calling out your pastors, your favorite artists, your favorite comedians, do not come and fight for them. I saw someone fighting for you people who are coming for our pastors, you should shut up. No, pastors should be called out, religious leaders, priests, brothers of Christian instructions, all of them, they should be called out, because in a time like this, they should be standing with the people and calling out things. We cannot be in a situation where someone like a prosecutor is disappearing from court and you're not even asking yourself that why do we have a situation where you're in court and the prosecutor just disappears? Lastly, and this is something I've been doing since Tuesday, when people have platforms, they should not make fun and ridicule people protesting. Since Tuesday, I've been asking Mr. Michael Moses or Michael Chiboneka, Uncle Mo, to come out and apologize and retract lies about the protests. He did claim that people were arrested in Kawempe. We sent their lawyers to Kawempe police station and there were no people arrested there. He claimed these people were bribing policemen at that police station. That didn't happen. I asked him and humbly asked him to please use his platform to come out and do the same. Because my mom sent me his artwork, his meme, and is telling me, why are you people bribing? We should use our platforms to call these people out. Thank you.
Thanks, Senor Mitch. Nelson Senyange.
Thank you, Robert. Good morning, good afternoon.
We are level now.
Wherever every single person is from. Robert, it's quite nice to release me after 10 years. I am here. And quite interesting that 10 years ago you blocked me because I held you accountable.
I can't remember. I
still remember because you blocked me across all social media, even your LinkedIn. So,
really? Okay.
And the same issue was again about, it was a corruption scandal at the time. You are heading New Vision, and I held you accountable, and then you realized that I was persistent with it, then you blocked me. It is quite interesting that in 2024, the same person is known over time. You have publicized for the government, you have defended it under New Vision, you're back with us here.
Even in my, not just as New Vision, even in my own private capacity.
In your private capacity, we would appreciate if you sent us some money that we can use to top up on bail money.
No, I said even in my own capacity, I have defended the government and I have defended the president. So I don't deny that at all.
Are you proud of that, Robert?
I am responsible for my history and for my actions.
That's why we are still going to hold you accountable for some of the
things
that have happened to this country under your watch. You have facilitated it to happen. And
That's
some of
perfectly fine.
people that have really taken over from you have copied the same tactics that you are using earlier, the same things that I do doing today, using the national media that is paid by the, taxpayers are paying for it, and it is being used against the same citizens of this country. It's quite unfortunate that you set that pace for other people to copy from. But moving forward, I really want to appreciate every person who is part of this cause. There is a lot of information going around how young people are very much sponsored by imperialists to overthrow the government. Quite interesting and absurd at the same time, because no single young person has asked the president to step down. I don't know what the president's fear is. I don't know why the president has got to speak for parliament in terms of corruption scandals that the young people are talking about. I want the president's informers and his social media handlers to know that these young people are all, at the moment, are more concerned about what is happening in the parliament, because that's the kind of information they have access at the time. Yeah, we're asking the parliament to hold these people accountable for the corruption that has been exposed. There is a lot that is very much unexposed at the moment. If the speaker is so confident that there is no corruption scandal in her house, can she step down and a proper investigation is done? I think that's the least she could do. But what the young people are asking for her to resign, and commissioners that did take the money, the 1.7 billion. Yeah. Now,
right. Yeah.
But in your capacity, as you are saying that you are part of this cause, you support the young people to stand up against corruption in the country. We would really appreciate if you came out on Monday and stood surety for a lot of young people. Or you might be scared that the regime is watching you. You are now the young people are fighting against corruption. You can send a token anonymously to one of the numbers we have, so that we can raise enough bail money. Because at the moment, we know that the state is going to want to hold these people to show young people, you know what, if you keep going back to the streets, we'll take you to zero, and we can keep you for as much as we can. Unfortunately, we are not going to stop until something is done. Someone yesterday said, if the Gen Z and the millennials are acting this way, what will the Gen Alpha do? We are not really going to wait for our children to stand against corruption. We are going to do it so that our children, the Gen Alpha, get to enjoy that country. Yeah. So the intimidations that are going on are pretty much unnecessary. There is a big abuse of the law, because young people are now thinking, once we're done with the parliament, we need to, call out the judiciary. All entities under government that are overseeing whatever is happening at the time have been exposed. Nothing has come out of the judiciary to abuse. People are being charged of crimes and not, like, how can you charge someone of being either and disorderly when the head of the state said this is a charge, it's a bogus charge. That's how he called it. Those bogus charges that you charge people, and a magistrate is happy to remand someone over such kind of charge that is unconstitutional. It's quite unfortunate. My last call is to the young generation of Uganda. We are the youngest nation in the whole world. Do not stick back. Some of you, are trying to stop your friends from being part of the cause. You can be part of the cause by small contributions, using your voice to be heard. This entire movement is moneyless, it is pathless, it is cashless, it is harmless, no violence. And once we get to the end goal of it, you're definitely going to put out a lot of things that have happened. And I want to appreciate the teams behind looking for missing people, the legal aid lawyers, thank you so much. Civil society organizations, NGOs, thank you so much, and all individuals that are really working to see that the young people that were apprehended, the missing ones, do get their freedom back. Thank you, Robert.
Right, and thanks for your feedback and comments to me. I Moguma, Mona, you're there now. Mona, you may need to unmute your mic.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Robert. I appreciate. I have always been attending your space. My name is Wani Michael. I'm from South Sudan. I just want to say that I stand in solidarity with the young people of Uganda. We have been following very closely what is happening in Uganda and what has been happening in Kenya. Robert, in 2020, there was a youth gathering in the African Union in Addis Ababa, and I had opportunity to participate with, I think there were some few head of states who participated in that summit. And we did indicate that Africa is not working for the young people anymore. If you look at what has been happening in the continent, young people are tired of leaders who promise to the young people, and the thing that we are seeing in the generation of the NRA of 1986, or the SPLA of South Sudan, or the KANU of Kenya, that is already the old liberation days. The current generation of the Gen Zs and the millennials, they have no business with the liberation struggle that people always talk about. Hey, we fought, we liberated this country. So if you liberated the country, does that justify you to loot and corrupt the resources? And in fact, even the future of the Gen Zs, are no longer even there. Even they have gone as far as stealing the future of the millennials. So I think, to me, what we are witnessing in the continent is an angry young people who feel that Africa is not working for them. And I think that's what we see in Uganda. The young people say Uganda is not working for them. They will not wait for somebody else to come and make Uganda work for them. They will make Uganda work for themselves. The second intervention, Robert, I want to make is that this narrative of whenever young people come out and start demanding for accountability, good governance, and start asking questions to their leaders, they are always branded to be agents of foreign agents, or you call names, or you sympathizers of the LGBTQ community, and given all sorts of names. This is not only a Ugandan problem. I personally, in South Sudan, I've been a victim of that. I have been interrogated by so many security organs, and the first question they ask you, who is funding you? Are you funded by Americans? Are you funded by the Europeans? I don't need to be funded by the Americans to understand that people are stealing my future. People are stealing my money. I pay tax every day, or whether direct or indirect taxes. And think it's time African government need to understand that when we ask for accountability, nobody is telling us to ask for this accountability. It's because we pay taxes and we want return of those taxes. So I want to encourage the young Ugandans to understand that the idea that African governments bring that you are funded by foreign agent is not a Ugandan problem. Recently, you heard what President Ruto have been talking about in Kenya, that the protest in Kenya is being funded by foreigners. It's not. Because and I think I saw a tweet from somebody in Uganda who start asking questions like, no foreigner come to ask us taxes. For example, no foreigner is one managing URA. No foreigner is the one giving less money to hospitals. I understand some Ugandans even say, if you go, for example, to Mulago, you cannot have access to even basic medicines that you really need. I listened to, I think, a voice of the IGG boss, I think Betty Kamia, who said, none of them go to Mulago Hospital. It is the ordinary Ugandan. So I think, as an African young man, I think it is time African governments who are old, who are tired. To me, they are exhausted. They're still in the cocoons of the liberation struggle of the old days. Young people want things work for them. For example, Robert, and this is my conclusion. You are taxing things that bring in the Gen Zs and millennials. For example, you are taxing or you are blocking Facebook, and young people are making money through Facebook. You want to tax even TikTok, or you are making TikTok not accessible. And these are the things that bring money to young people. You're talking you're talking about them going to farming. They don't own land, So it is time, I think, African government need to think about that. This current generation want things work for them, and if they don't make things work for them, the young people will rise up like what is happening in Uganda, and you cannot stop them, and they will still make Uganda work for them. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Right. Rosebell.
Hi, Robert. Thank you so much.
Sorry, I am so sorry.
It's okay. I need to jump off, but I just wanted to bring back just a few thoughts as we look forward. How do we engage? And it's very, very important. Several people talked about the question of language, the question of holding power accountable, but be cognizant of language. The fact that oftentimes when you're agitating for your rights, people want to impose civility, like, oh, you cannot speak like that. Of course, we've had that history when Dr. Stella Nyanzi was putting all the protests and bringing all these issues to the forefront. A few years ago, we saw the Ugandans wrestling with the question of what language, this is not acceptable, but there's no specific language to use. It's the least you can do to speak. So there's no specific language to use to get back your rights. Deploy every language you can, and I mean it, like deploy every language, because what the people in power who are gaining and benefiting from every misery we have is that their job here is to pacify us. They will use tactics to pacify you. Let's dialogue, right? If you refuse dialogue, they will label you, you're a radical, but there's nothing wrong with being radical. Radical people have shifted the country. You must be radical enough. You must be actually insanely radical in order to reimagine a new reality from what we are facing. So they will try to find you, to neutralize you. When money will not work, they will try to kind of label you and discredit you, to try to discard you from the national discourse and consciousness. So we have to continue to be together to watch out, to dispel misinformation and disinformation by people with big platforms, whether it's comedians or anybody. So for me, it's very, very important that we are on the lookout in the way power is being used in terms of in the information age. And then another weapon we need to look out for is religion. You people, we've been having enough people scapegoating, religious people getting cattle and vehicles because they say one word about homosexuals and using scapegoats, and all these people go to church and agree that, oh, our problem is homosexuality. Like, we need to snap ourselves out of that nonsense of religion. We need to have a religion, to be aware of the histories of religion and how they came here and how they were used in colonization, and mass erasure of our minds on who we are, and pacify us and not fight people in power. Religion has been at the heart of the creation of Ugandan state, and it continues to be used to immobilize people from taking action. So it's very, very important. Hold those leaders, religious leaders, accountable, and make sure that religion is not a tool that is used to explain away things, to delegitimize us from actually coming together. Then lastly, community. People talked about community. We already have communities, because I've talked about the mutual aid, right? How we run for each other. We've had car washes, we started from that survival mode. But we need to reset these communities that we have. I know you all have WhatsApp groups. I'm in WhatsApp groups of my village, my sub-county, my district. We need to find ways to actually bring consciousness to those groups beyond survival politics. Build agency where you are. Those groups are already there. We are not starting from scratch. So use those spaces where you are. Start from where you are. Community might sound something so big, so out of reach for many, but everybody can do and start from where they are and try to make every space you're in a very conscious space that is conscious of the suffering we are in, and the steps we need to take to hold not only Among and her people in parliament accountable, but also Museveni, who has allowed this situation to go to where it is, because it benefits him. His longevity in power depends on breaking down the country's systems, and the parliament being a tool of thuggery, not a tool of the people. So we need to remember that, and we need to find ways to divest from their money ventures. All these people in power stealing money, they have apartments, they have dairy products. We need to identify the investment. We need to identify what are the products that we know of, and it's very easy to find who is owning what. Sometimes you think they're the ones who are surveilling us, but we can surveil their resources and hit where it hurts. So let's not only keep on like talking, even going to the marches is very important, but what other tactics that can include other people who might not speak, who might be afraid to speak, who might be afraid to protest, but they can refuse to give their money to these people who are holding us hostage in our own country. And lastly, to Azawi and everybody bringing in the art, it's very important that the revolution has color, that the resistance has color, has language, whether it's from literature or to musicians, for people conveying our pain every day through music, because everybody consumes music every day. Let's go away. Love is important and all these things and the romance, but in a time of war also, it's very important that music reflects the time. I think it was Nina Simone who said, the artist's duty is to reflect the times they are in. So we are so proud of Azawi to step forward and speak truth to power and be unafraid. We are with you. Do not be intimidated. Continue, and we need to see more people join you. And lastly, what is a revolution if I cannot dance? Continue making the music so we can dance, and we can continue storming our feet as we put back our nation where we need it to be. So thank you, everybody. I'm so proud of you, and let's continue.
And thank you, Rosbel. The Lil King.
Oh, thank you so much. Hello, fellow
Yes.
Africans. Can you hear me, Robert?
Yes.
Oh, thanks so much. Hello, fellow African brothers and sisters. I'm the Lil King from Ethiopia. I might have nothing to say about the internal matters basically, but I would like to share some experiences from what we had back home in Ethiopia. And first of all, I would like to appreciate all the efforts you're pushing forward here, Robert, and as a fellow brothers and sisters. I have been attending spaces that were being hosted by Kenyan brothers and sisters, and I've got much more energy from them. And the same is here. Many more eloquent speakers, well-educated minds, great ideas. So sorry. What I want to say is, we're experiencing genocide in Ethiopia after protesting for decades, probably 3 or 4 decades. So now we're fighting the genocidal government. So what I would like to suggest to you guys, there's a need to change a political culture in Africa in general, not the political classes specifically. We need the working system. We need a system that works for the people, not for the governors, for themselves. So I think we can start doing so by starting from clarity of thoughts and legitimizing the causes. and what we are doing is just that, I think. So I may have a suggestion to you all to have prepare a link tree to post and repost while you are here hosting spaces, and expertise in different in different academic careers can write different articles just to make your cause very clear and legitimate for the public, and then you can just push forward. So, and everybody can, I mean, should involve in the case or in the cause. I mean, because we can't have anybody to come to secure us or to save us at this critical time. Yeah. The other thing I want to add, I heard one Kenyan young man saying practicing abnormally in an abnormal condition is normal. So yeah, I mean, you know, we need to be irrational, I would say. What I mean in that sense is we need to decide to die for the cause. To that maximum limit, I mean. So that's what we are doing back home in Ethiopia. The government waged a full-fledged war on the Amhara people for a year now. It has been started last August last year, and we're still fighting. But the very good thing I can tell you guys is, as long as you have a legitimate cause and clarity of status, you are the winners from now on. Yeah, it's not easy to express my deepest feeling as I imagined.
You have been very clear. We've understood
Thank you so
very
much.
well.
Thanks so much.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, English is not my first language, as most of you know that, but I'm just trying to be as brief as I can. So, and the other thing, as far as awareness creation is concerned, you can expose the level of corruption, you can expose the illegitimacy of the government, you can expose as all the systems are not working for the people, but for the governors, for themselves, through different platforms like X, like this one, and many more articles can be written by different scholars. So please do that. And one thing I can say lastly, just to wrap up, we're here to support in any possibilities, as we have many more things in common. We can suggest, we can provide some directions from our experiences, and I can probably suggest some good speakers next time.
Yeah.
So thank you so much.
I'm gonna follow you, so you can DM me people.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, definitely. Right. Let's be followed each other. We can have discussions like this with Kenyans, with Ugandans, with Nigerians, and with some other African countries to change the system for the system to work for us. Thanks so much. I appreciate it, Robert. Thank you.
Okay.
I was just here and there. Sorry about that. But,
no worries. No worries at all.
Thank you.
Good. Orin Asimwe.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'll try.
How are you?
Fine, thank you.
Your voice is very low.
I'm sorry. So I hope
you
can hear me now.
Earphones or something?
Sorry?
Go ahead.
Thank you so much, Robert. And thanks everyone who has done something to create awareness for this cause. I don't know, I came in late in the space, so I don't know if this was addressed, but if
just say what you have to say.
I'd like to recall. We need to find a way of creating awareness, because the other day I was in town and people, like, I was listening to people speak, and for them they thought this was targeting people, or it was a political move. But we need the numbers, we need the people, so we need to find a way of telling people that corruption affects us all in every way, and therefore they should be able to join us in this call. Yeah. So I don't know how we're going to do it, but we really need the numbers. We need everyone to understand that they need to join us in every way they can. Those who can contribute, those who can march, let them march, but they need to join us. Thank you.
Thanks, Orin. And finally, Hashim Kapla.
Thank you so much, Robert. Can you hear me well? Can anyone hear me well?
You're very loud and clear.
Okay, thank you. Once again, it's really important for us to be able to meet virtually, albeit, and discuss matters of utmost importance in our country. I am not a Gen Z, I'm a millennial, but I was introduced to the concept of corruption when I was still in secondary school. So I wanted to start my contribution with a bit of a scenario that I went through. So I felt like I had a heart issue. So I went to the Mulago Heart Institute. Now I went, of course, with a parent. My dad had a little bit of money. He worked in the World Health Organization. They used to meet with these people, with doctors and all that. So naturally, and that's in quotes, naturally, I was meant to, don't have to line up, just go through everyone and go straight to the office and see the doctor. But on my way, I found people lying down in the corridor. People had slept there. Others were there without appointment, just hope that maybe when you're near a doctor, maybe he will feel the pity and see you. But there I was walking with 2 feet upright. I just went through the whole system and entered and see the doctor. But when I was inside there, I don't know what happened to me. When the doctor asked me, what's wrong with you? I said, I'm fine. So my dad looked at me and he's like, but you said you had a heart issue. You can't breathe well, you're struggling. I said, Dad, I'm fine. But when I went back to school, I realized that what I saw when I went to Mulago, it really shook me so much that I realized that this condition that I am exaggerating was actually not as bad as it is. And there were people whose opportunity to see a doctor I was impeding because of that corruption. Now, this is a story that stuck with me up to now. I'm 32 years old, but I keep remembering that time. So I can only imagine how many people go through such a scenario. I'm sure there are very many. That's just a scenario I wanted to start with. Now, if I dig into the current affairs, what we are dealing with right now, there is something that we are skipping. When the people in power say that foreign agencies are behind the march to corruption and whatnot, it may seem like a blunt statement, but it really isn't. It has a very, very significant undertone. And what does this mean? As a Ugandan, you are intellectually incapacitated. You do not see these things happening from the outset. That's why they steal your money and do all those things. But you need these foreign NGOs to direct you, to point for you that, oh, now you need to make noise on matter A, B, C, D. But on your own, you don't have that capacity to do that on your own. They forget that fighting corruption is an event. It's not a process. Yeah. This process, it's a process, not an event. This process was started by very many people. And as we grow, we become more aware of the inequalities in our society and how we deal with them. And every now and then someone joins the struggle. But the people in power are so arrogant and tone deaf that they do not see that. Now I have a few recommendations for us as the people who are really affected by this. One, do whatever you can, what you're good at. We have people who are good in legal aspects. We have people who are good in social mobilization. We have people who are good in mobilization of funds. We have people who are good in promotion. We all can't be doing the same thing, but each and everything we do has a positive impact. The underlying denominator in our struggle against corruption is the realization that we need to save our nation. We may not all have the resources and security, like maybe to to openly speak about the government. Some people will speak about the government today and tomorrow they'll be gone. I think I saw Rama was saying yesterday that now his wife has joined the fight against corruption. And if the police come, they'll take all of them, the house will remain empty. And it's a sad reality. But the point is that whereas some people have this security and they might speak out, not everyone does, but it does not mean that you should eliminate yourself. Secondly, I would like, and this is something I'm willing to work on with anyone, I believe that no crime should go unpunished, especially in terms of embezzlement of government funds. I believe that we should have transitional, long-standing political accountability. It doesn't matter if I'm Mama Mbabazi or whoever. That's just an example. I'm sorry for bringing it up. It doesn't matter if person X or Y stole money in 1998 and we're in 2025. There are people who needed that money in 1998. We need to have long-standing accountability. We need to have a database. Of course, the government will not support this, but we need to have this record somewhere else. At a certain time T, when the conditions are favorable, when we have liberated our nation, we have to go back and revisit. Why is this important? Because as a country where grievances have been done, there has to be some form of reparations. There has to be an example for the people who are currently in power at that time to avoid the mistakes of the past. Now, in conclusion, the day after is very important. When we are fighting against corruption now, assuming we realize our targets tomorrow, what do we do on the day after? That's very, very important. Everyone has their own idea of what that environment will look like. It's not necessarily important to share it here because there are some people here with ill intentions, you never know, but that day is very important. I'd like to end with a quote. Nothing can stand in the way of an idea whose time has come. I think the idea that we have is past, is long overdue, the time has come. So this is a process and we will keep going. It's not an event. We lose today, we reconvene tomorrow and start again. We know what we want at the end of the struggle. Again, thank you very much for this opportunity. And I would like to applaud and commend everyone who is taking part in the struggle because it's one that we do for ourselves, we do for our children and for our children, for God and my country. Thank you very much.
On that note, folks, I would like to thank General Muchamuntu, Rosebel Kagumire, Dr. Jacob Otile, Godwin Toko, Jackie Kemigisa, Cynthia, Maria Alezi. Thank you very much, all of you, for having set aside time to come and talk to us. Those of you who joined the conversations, I am truly, truly grateful for you spending your time to share your perspectives. This is a conversation that's just started and it will go on, and there will be many other people who will be setting up these kinds of conversations, and please just attend them. It's also one way in which we get the process moving. A special thanks to Azawi, who has really spoken from the heart and has expressed our souls. Just listen to her music. That's the best we can do for her. At least she's shown us what courage can do when you take it. To the rest of you, thank you very much for being here. I've got to go now. So thank you very much for being on African Speak. My name is Robert Kapshenga, and I'd like to sign out for the weekend. I'll see you again on Monday.